Hello. So I didn't know what I was gonna record this video about until right when I saw myself on screen about 2 minutes ago, and I've spent the last 8 hours or so ruminating, getting increasingly frustrated and angry with myself for not knowing what to make this video about, for posting on social media that I was going to do this, setting very simple guidelines for what I just speak simply and clearly and don't talk about politics and make a video. And I got about 3 hours of sleep last night, just deliberating, thinking, hey, what should I talk about? What unique perspective am I going to provide? What uh, what am I going to do to help other people? What am I going to do to help myself? How do I say the right thing? What should I talk about my indecisiveness? Surely I should talk about that. If I'm having this much of a problem deciding what to talk about, I should decide to talk about my indecisiveness. No, um, maybe I should talk about why I'm taking a break from politics. Maybe I should talk about my obsessive compulsive disorder. Maybe I should talk about Los Angeles, etc., etc. Um, what I decided right before I started recording this, well, two things. One, I decided, why don't I pace back and forth like a maniac? Um, because this is honest. It's it's me um, it's me doing something that I've spent countless hours doing my entire life for as long as I can remember. I'm a pacer. I spend time by myself just pacing back and forth like this, just back and forth, ruminating, just thinking about everything. Um, So that was the first thought I had right before I started recording this. Then the second thought I had was, um, why don't I talk about this? What I'm doing right now, um, with with one of my hands, because I only have one free hand. The other one is holding up the laptop. Um, why do I do this? Everyone who knows me in real life knows that I'm constantly doing this with my hair. Constantly. I have, I guess it's a mild case of trichotillomania, which is a fancy word for hair pulling, for those of you who don't know. Um, I guess it's a mild case because I don't do it so severely that I make myself bald. I don't have any bald spots on my head, but I'm constantly doing this, constantly. And it's, I've had this I've had this issue for, at least since high school, for a long time. Um, so why do I do this? Well, stress, but I have a more specific answer to it. I had an epiphany about 6 weeks ago, during a moment of extreme stress. It suddenly occurred to me, this is my subconscious or unconscious way of trying to pull distressing thoughts out of my head. I had no idea until about 6 weeks ago. It just suddenly occurred to me. That's why I do this. Um, I, I have thoughts that I just want to physically remove them from inside my skull and just pull them out. I had no idea. I had no idea. But that's why I do this. Um, I I pace back and forth, and I think about stuff. I try to pull the thoughts out of my head. um, I don't know if I'm gonna get into the habit of making these videos or not, but I feel good about this one, and maybe I'll get better at this. Sometimes I feel good about being such a crazy weirdo, and other times I get very self-conscious and I don't know what to do, and then I disappear, and I think, well, if I just wait it out, eventually I'm gonna have that big life-changing epiphany that tells me what I'm supposed to do. Um, well, for now, I'll take this whole hair pulling thing as a pretty significant self-discovery. That's why I've been doing this. I don't notice it the majority of the time I'm doing it. It's not, like I said, it's not, most of the time it's not conscious. Um, it's self-forgetting behavior, which I'm very good at. All right, I'm going to end this with a story. Um, I'll try and keep this short. I'm, I'm not a great storyteller because, well, because I have trouble getting to the point. I don't know which details are important and which ones aren't. Um, so let's see if I can keep this brief and simple. Couple months before I left Chicago in summer 2012, I was introduced to something called the Enneagram by one of my old comedian friends. He hands me this book and he says, "Hey, I'd like you to take a look at this. There's this super precise personality typing system, and it's really helped me. And I think you should take a look at it, see if you can figure out your type." So um, I grabbed this book from him. I go through the 9 types. I read the descriptions. Type 1, well, that sounds a little bit like me. Type 2, that sounds a little bit like me. Type 4, that sounds kind of like me. Type 5, type 6. And by the time I get to type 8, I'm thinking, man, like at least half of these types sound like me. I don't think this whole I don't think this whole Enneagram thing is for me, um, because I'm relating to so much of what I'm reading. A lot of this feels like me. And then I get to type 9, and just instantly, as soon as I read the description, I went, that's it. I'm a type 9. That's me. We're the self-forgetters. We're the people who are constantly thinking about everyone else. And that doesn't mean we're actively doing things for other people. Um, Oftentimes we're not, but we're always occupying other people's mental space, or at least trying to, or imagining that we can, and just not aware of ourselves. And we can be very prone to isolation, just just not thinking about ourselves, not knowing ourselves. I've it's That day has really stuck with me for a long time. It's been 7 years now. I've been absolutely obsessed with the Enneagram, and it's I recommend it to everyone. I highly recommend it to everyone. Um, it's it can be very painful to see things about yourself that you haven't noticed before. And this self-forgetting, this not even noticing that I'm walking around like a crazy person pulling at my hair constantly, this self-forgetting, this I have stuff going on in here that I don't like. I want it out. But if I'm not even thinking about myself, then why would I notice this? So, in conclusion, I'm someone who has had a lifelong obsession with politics, and I'm taking a break from that now to focus on myself, to stop self-forgetting. And it's been a challenge for me. This is Even in elementary school, I was obsessed with politics. And, here I am, 30 years old, and it's like I don't take care of myself. So, you know, how the heck can I justify having an obsession that consumes my life and doesn't really impact it? And in that regard, I know it's not just me. There are a lot of people who, for whom politics becomes a distraction from their own life. and all of that frustration, all of that anger, all of that fear, it's actually escapism from this, from what's going on in here and in here. It's from a failure to confront truths about yourself. It's a distraction. Um, anyway, I think I'm gonna go with the first take on this. And if you're seeing this video, then it means I decided to go with the first take. So, my name is Eric Turman, and maybe I'll be posting more of these. In fact, you know what? As I say this, I think I will post more because this wasn't so bad. All right, bye.